Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Camera Tuesday, we're going to talk about Top Gun Maverick behind the scenes, or basically how the heck exactly it was shot. Now you have to understand, this puppy achieved something that was like almost unheard of, is that it almost created a setup that was so goddamn good that China literally moved their satellite, which Naval Department detected. It's like, dude, why the heck China's satellite is pointing in different direction? It's like they were actually trying to figure out, is the Darkstar real? Like, this puppy, is this real? Well, you have to understand that, like, how the heck you can make something that good? Well, reality is, hire the right people. What people? People who are building the actual hypersonic weapon systems, meaning they hired the people, the aeronautics engineer went into it, meaning it's not just like, okay, it's a plane that looks cool. No. They sat down. It's like, hey, like, artist is like, bro, I get it, like, you want to make it mean, slick looking, does not matter, this is the aerodynamic principle, you have to follow it. So because they had actual feedback from the people who are working in Lockheed Martin and in the skunk over category, that stamp, they had real feedback, meaning the people, this looks like SR20, SR72, simply because it may be based on SR72, or like a rough concept, rough designs and all that. So it actually has some good dynamics, good aerodynamic characteristics, and the fact that it does not have nose window, like, that's a thing that you will, only a serious aeronautical engineer will understand, that you're not going to have a nose window at hypersonic speeds, especially at Mach 10, you're not going to have it. So it's one of those little, given the fact that these things are actual metal, not wood and not something plastic like that. It's like, dude, they are like actual aircraft, like maybe some, carry over from some old retired aircraft or something like that, but physical thing. And they were moving it in and out again and again from an Air Force base because they wanted to do all the scene. It created an aura around it where it's like, dude, is it real? Because it's in a real airbase, real people are working behind it. And then when you talk about the trailer shook the world, because this scene was in the trailer of the Darkstar. Darkstar was like actually coming and showing. Now here's the deal. That was a normal Blue Angels plane. Now here's the difference. Most companies don't do that. They just do CG. But because the Blue Angel, like, supposedly is much smaller than Darkstar, like in terms of shape, so to say. So because they had the luxury of having physically interacting jet, the CG artist could just paint this puppy on top of that and it will look realistic to a point where almost nobody can tell, unless you really understand or analyze it, which you will not be able to do simply from a YouTube video. So that created a scenario, and this sort of shock waves, it cannot be replicated, it cannot be created in CG. You have to physically do it, which they did, and they destroyed this set. The second time they actually tried to do a full take, they destroyed the set. That is the take that you see in the movie, because again, they destroyed the set, roof came off. Again, those things cannot be faked. They actually did it, and then they superimposed an image of basically this jet on there. Now, why the heck that superimposed image did not look fake? Well, reality is, if you help CG artists, they're gonna give you amazing CGI. So how do you help a CG artist? You say, bro, make this into CG. As simple as that. Like, this is the real model, this is how it reflects light, this is how it's behaving with things. Spend time there, study this. This is exactly what I want in CG. They're like, I got you, fam. Now, if you give them just a fake model, which like many DC movies do, like everything is fake, it's like they can't do much about it. And that's why, like, why Mandalorian kind of looks good, even though such and such, they built physical, practical models. Again, small scale, but practical. So light reflection could be studied properly. And then I was like, huh, here it's like full scale, bro. Don't even need to like scale it up or do, no, bro. Control C, Control V, done. Maybe just scan this puppy in like, 3D and be like, voila. And you already have best texture reference. So fundamentally, that's why the jet looked so impressive that even trained people will like, wait, is it some new upcoming plane? And I'm pretty sure when in future we'll have that, somebody might think, oh, this is the first time they showed it. So it was really, really mind-blowing. And they modified, let that sink in, modified actual active combat F18 systems, meaning a fighter jet that is actually flying in the air, in service, they tampered with 3 of them. That's some balls. That's like saying that my Air Force is bigger than yours. That's like the best way of saying that. It's like, my Air Force is so much bigger than yours that I'm actually spending 3 of them for a movie. And you may be like, is it waste of money? Well, no. Every time this sort of thing happened, it directly boosted the image, public perception, budgets, enrollment, all of them boosted. Like, again, little bit, 8% to 12%, little bit. But here's the deal, little bit is better than nothing. And perception directly funnels funding. So fundamentally, it's a safe investment. Then we come to the main daddy of this thing, F18 Super Hornet. Now, Hornet is there and Super Hornet. Super Hornet is dual seater. Of course, they had to have dual seater. They're not gonna let you fly a freaking military weapon system. So they're like, okay, the pilot would be there. Pilot will wear the exact same clothing as the person or the talent, and then we're gonna do things. Basically, talent is gonna act in the second seat, and then we're gonna superimpose it. Now, how the heck you gonna superimpose it? You don't. You basically create the best big camera capture setup, so you capture everything. Now, one of the basically F18 was super modified, meaning it had this put in there. Now, because of the fact that it's a giant full frame camera system, it created too much wind turbulence, and again the plane lost some capabilities in terms of, basically at that point in time they were not that happy with the plane, so many advanced acrobatics was not done by this plane. This plane was only supposed to be used for capturing things outside of the plane. For this tail side, there's two bottom, one looking backwards, one forwards, and two on the wingtips. So every time you're seeing like the wingtips, I think they are rarely used. There are only some scenes that have it. And then in scene, like when you are having inside there, then you have 6 goddamn cameras, 6 IMAX class cameras. Now, why the heck they use 6? Well, the reality was there was no retake, there was no do it again and again, so they had to make sure they get the most out of it. Now, you do not want to add moving parts into a fighter jet unless you can verify the hell out of it. So they're like, hey, let's not add that. Let's just put 6 camera, bolt it down, test it with the naval department, where it's like, is it worthy enough to withstand shocks, G-force and all that jazz, and then that's it. You record all 6 of them. Now 6 of them is like, basically 4 of them is focused on the talent. You have close up, so every time you're seeing the close up, it's from the center camera, bit top left, right, obviously left and right, and then you have wide angle. So if you see behind the scene, like person is in the center and a lot of left and right scene is there, that is the wide angle one. And then they had 2 front camera. Now, but be mindful, every time you will see the photo, you'll only see 4 of these lenses. The other 2 are in the canopy. That's why I was having hard time finding it. Those were in canopy. So again, they had to do all this testing, but like they said around 18 months was spent on this, and I'm like, that's fast. Just to go, and like be mindful, they actually modified a fighter jet. Like this internal thing, that's easy. That's everything is happening inside the cockpit. This is like tampering with the aerodynamics. So that's what they did. That's what you get, the 6 shots. So this was Super Hornet. Like that's like, mine is bigger than yours. That's the biggest show off to anyone else. It's like, mine's bigger than yours. China did try to copy this picture, and their trailers was so goddamn bad. Even the Chinese people were like, dude, what the hell? And they like took it away to polish the special effect. That's like, this is like, mine's bigger than yours, brother. Then we come to how the heck you capture the jet itself. Well, you utilize CINEJET, yes, another jet. Now, to do air and air capture, they needed a special type of jet. There are other jets that already exist in marketing, but none of them were like good enough. So they took Aero L39 Albatross jet. This jet is used for fighter pilot training. It's like the cheapest jet plane you can get with good characteristics, handling characteristics, like really agile. So that was the base, and then they put basically gimbal on it that is shot over F1. That gimbal is used in a lot of TV and all that jazz. So this is how the acrobatics are captured, like from the outside. Then this was like good, everything is fine, but here's the deal. When they were above the sea or like doing flying very long over flyovers, they were like, dude, the fuel capacity of this puppy is too limited. It simply will not last long enough. So they get another jet that is much bigger than this, the Embraer Phenomenon 300 for long distance and endurance shooting. And at that point in time, they were achieving 3 hours of flight time. 3 hours of flight time, meaning they had one Super Hornet doing all the stuff, capturing the file, going away. Another coming, doing all the stuff, capturing, going away. And then this puppy had to land. That's why like it has 2 gimbals from front. But again, it's not gonna do advanced acrobatics. This is like us, you know, eyes on the sky kind of scenario. But then there was an issue. Both of these were kind of fast, and because if you have fast system, you are creating a sense of slowness. Basically, if you are capturing basically a fighter jet using another fighter jet, it looks like it's floating, right? Both of them are traveling at the more or less same speed, so it always had that feeling. Now that's good for tension building, which they did in the third act of the movie, where you have like the 6th generation fighter coming. So again, for that, awesome. But for dynamic things, that's not that good. So what they did is like fighter jet, good. Dynamic high speed shots, which it makes it like, you know, very subtle, good. Then they use helicopter. Now helicopter is the in between. Basically, they had ground cameras that will give you hyper speed. That's the ground cameras. Then you have helipad that will give you medium speed, because again, helicopter will try to keep up with you, but they can't, but you'll still get the speed. And when you needed to slow everything down, it's like, you know, see, intimate kind of scene or doing acrobatics, that time jets were used. So 3 aerial rig setups were built just to capture the movie. Mine's really bigger than yours. This is like, yeah, mine's is really bigger. And be mindful, this CINEJET is now a thing that other companies are using for their jumbo jet and Boeing commercials and all that jazz. Really big. Now, this picture gave me a very bittersweet feeling, simply because it's one of the few true masculine movie. Now, be mindful, it still has a woman, it still has an important cast, but she does not act like a beep 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 beep. Like that's a very good thing, because right now the masculinity is like showed as a like curse, like it's a bad thing on this. Like, dude, it survived natural selection. Trust me when I say this. Natural selection is one of the most cruel and violent thing in this universe, and if something survives that, there is a good reason for it. And again, masculinity also has many positive traits, but it's never shown anywhere, especially with modern movies. It's like, dude, they are literally neutering gods at this point in time. So I really like, it's reaching a point where I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna watch it. It's like, just I'm sorry. It's just like, you want to have a bad man, okay, you have to have a good man also. But like, what you have is like bad man, really bad man, and then you have a neutered dude. It's like, that's not how the world works. Like, there are good and bad both in the same point. It's like positive and negative of the battery is always in the same potential, right? Otherwise, what's the point? You're not gonna have, oh, positive volt is 12 volt and negative is like only 10 volt. It's like, that's not how it works. So fundamentally, the aspect of masculinity and the fact that this whole movie, watch this with this lens, every time the people respect each other flat out. You will see that, like, even the antagonistic forces that they are acting, it's like they will flat out say, I'll give you some I will give you this, you got some balls. And they'll flat out, it's like, dude, I am against you, but I still respect you that you are good. Even look at the Maverick himself, he's flying and this student is like, I'm gonna show you, and it's like, and he's doing good, so it's like, you're good, I'll give you that. And that aspect of respect carried throughout the movie. Look at every part of it, the respect. It's a very critical thing. Nowadays, I rarely see. I specifically shown towards men. It's like, they are showing that. It's like, dude, you're good. And even the woman is like, dude, you are my co-pilot. I'm not gonna consider you a burden or weight. It's like, dude, you have a job. You'll do the job. I like, there is a camaraderie there. There is a respect there. And again, douche, I'm gonna respect it as a douche. So there is so much emphasis on, like, people behave like people. And I'm so happy with that. It's like, I'm tired of like seeing men equal bad. It's like, masculinity is important. It survived natural selection for a reason. So that really made me happy. And the fact that the amount of effort that went into it. Now, what about Avatar? Avatar was a CG technology, not physical, like all the actors are like actually becoming competent in a fighter jet. That's like a whole different level. Like the training Tom Cruise did on himself and all the majority of the crew, that is mind-boggling. And not to mention the camera people. This the cameraman who flat was saying, the aerial photographer is like, dude, this is the first time I'm pulling 3Gs while doing an aerial shot. So even those people were like pushed to the maximum. That's why this movie looks on a whole different level. Like, there is no other movie that you can put up and be like, oh, this is how fighter jets look like. Nope. And Tom Cruise had this one very critical point. It's like, let's say you can render out everything, it looks absolute photorealistic, nobody can tell it. How the heck you can render the skin? Because yes, the G force cannot be faked. Flat out, G force cannot be faked. So fundamentally, it's a really good thing, a really good movie, and very low chance that I'm gonna see something of this caliber again. It's almost like how I felt after watching Chernobyl. It was like such a good show. You're like, after that, you're like, yeah, I really feel any show would be that good. So I'm really doubtful that any other top quality blockbuster will be of this caliber. And it is really worth it of large silver screen. Like, yeah, it's a movie, worth it, watch it, because there is no alternate to this. And people supported it. Top Gun Maverick made $1.48 billion. That's a lot of money nowadays. Movies are no longer like printing money as they used to. And you can see that, like, Doctor Strange is like, did not even cross $1 billion with so much hype and all that jazz. And Avatar still under 1 billion. It may cross 1 billion, but doubtful that it will cross Top Gun Maverick. Again, I could be wrong on that, but let's see. And given the fact that almost everything is either from China or flat out Disney, this is another fresh air that without Disney, people can also do things. And the fact that they flat out subtly give middle finger to China, it satisfies my soul. The fact that China was like, many times you will have noticed that why the heck Hollywood is like pandering so much to China. China figured it out. It's like everybody is available for sale. They bought WHO, so they are like, hey, I'll buy Hollywood, and then do stuff thing like remove Taiwan, change Doctor Strange's teacher's origin. I'm like, it really boils my blood. And then you will have actors like, begging for China's forgiveness. It's like, I insulted you. It's like, why the heck you're doing that? Then I realized the money. And this company was also doing the same thing. This is the old jacket, which has Japan and Taiwan. New jacket. Both of them, poof. It's like, what the hell happened here? Both of them went poof. People noticed it. And then be mindful, this is a naval project also. So Navy was like, haha, you're forgetting something, bro. Like, China is not paying for you. I am. So they were like, okay, they fixed it. And I really love this fact. It's China, like, the investor was like, I'm going to pull my money back. It's like, bye. Bye. I'm really happy with this. I really want to see more people standing up for this. Like, not everything should be for sale. WHO should not be for sale where they are saying, oh, this virus will not spread in the world. I'm like, you destroyed the whole world, and not to mention you destroyed the credibility of WHO. Now, even if they are saying good thing, people will not trust it. So that's why, like, this kind of it's a very good movie, but it's like very, I would urge you, watch it in the biggest screen you can. I really feel sorrow that I cannot watch it in large theater, but it is what it is. This was a good experience for me. So this was my presentation on Top Gun Maverick. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please hit the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.